The instant you feel the need to justify your position, you have already surrendered. Picture the scene. A veiled insult slides across the table. A colleague questions your decision in front of a group. Someone you trust warps your intention into something ugly. Your pulse quickens. Your mind scrambles to assemble the perfect rebuttal, to set the record straight with flawless logic. If you speak to correct them, if you offer your proof, you have just confessed your weakness. Because in the theater of human interaction, performance always outweighs fact. The person who pleads their case is the one kneeling. To defend is to acknowledge the other's right to sit in judgment over you. Centuries ago, a strategist of influence uncovered a raw truth that modern comfort has tried to erase. He saw that true authority isn't about correctness. It's about who controls the narrative. And when you explain yourself, you enter a story they wrote. You become a character in their play. But what if you refuse the role? What if, when the pressure mounts, you employed the single tactic that unravels a controller completely? Most people navigate life as approval-seeking machines. A disapproving look triggers an apology. An unfair charge launches a frantic explanation. They operate from a place of perpetual reaction, forever seeking to demonstrate their value, their intelligence, their goodness. It's an exhausting performance, a quiet erosion of your spirit. Yet there exists another path, a manner of moving through conflict so composed, so self-contained, that criticism doesn't merely deflect, it evaporates before it can land. This isn't about being heartless. It's not about pride. It's a radical relocation of your center of gravity. Today, we will dismantle the machinery of the unprovoked defense. We'll examine why your instincts fail you and how to reprogram them with a principle that old masters of strategy would recognize. I will reveal how to invert the social hierarchy in a heartbeat, how to plant a seed of doubt in your accuser's mind, how to wield quiet not as emptiness, but as a tool to dismantle another's ego. But understand, this demands you silence a voice you've listened to since you were small, the part that aches for validation, the part that seeks external permission. Mute that need, and you become formidable. You become unreachable. Let's start. So, why this compulsion? Why does a challenge immediately trigger a flood of self-justification? The roots are in childhood. Recall being young and facing an adult's disapproval. Your path to safety was through explanation. It wasn't me. He started it. You learned that those in charge held the gavel. You learned your peace depended on persuading the judge of your innocence. The trouble is, you became an adult while that frightened child remained inside. You now project that courtroom onto every relationship. Your superior, your friend, a random critic, online. When you mount a defense against someone, you are whispering, "You are the authority. I am the supplicant. Validate me so I can be at ease." It broadcasts vulnerability, and people, on a primal level, can detect that scent of need from across the room. The old strategist wrote that it is better to be feared than loved. In today's terms, it is better to command respect than to beg for understanding. When you hurry to defend, you choose being comprehended over being esteemed. You are saying, "See my heart, know my motive." But a general does not explain his tactics to the foot soldier. A storm does not explain its path to the tree. The moment you list your reasons, you announce that your peace depends on their verdict. You have handed them the lever to your emotional state, and once they own that lever, they will pull it whenever they wish. This is the trap of the seeking validation. You believe if you articulate clearly enough, they will finally see the light. How often does that occur? Virtually never. Because the provocation was never about information. It was about dominance. They didn't challenge you for clarity. They did it to see if you would flinch. And you flinched. The first step toward becoming unassailable is to recognize the courtroom is an illusion. There is no bench, there is no gavel, there only exists your own perception. When you cease appointing others as your jurors, their accusations cease to be rulings. They become merely data, and data is just background noise. So, what unfolds when you stand perfectly still? Envision the moment. A verbal barb is launched your way. You never consider anyone else. The former version of you would sputter. That's not true. Just last week It's defensive, feeble, predictable. Now envision the strategic response. They say, you never consider anyone else. You meet their gaze. You don't look away. Your expression becomes placid, unreadable. You let the quiet expand for 3, 4, 5 full seconds. Do you know what occurs in that void? It becomes a psychological pressure chamber. The human psyche is deeply unsettled by silence amid tension. It indicates a break in the expected script. It signals you're not participating in their game. When you hold silence, you are reflecting their own aggressive energy back at them. You are making them inhabit the discomfort they manufactured. Typically, they will begin to falter. They will speak again to break the stillness. Well, not never, but just now. Or, why are you just staring? They start justifying themselves to your quiet. The dynamic has now reversed. This is the stone wall method forged into a weapon. You become an echo chamber. You cannot strike a shadow. You cannot wound smoke. By denying them the resistance of a rebuttal, you allow their aggression to lose its force and destabilize them instead. This demands fierce internal discipline because your ego is howling. Counterattack. Say something sharp. You must muzzle that impulse. The strategist knew the most formidable person is the one who offers no tells. If you defend, you expose your values. You reveal what stings you. You display your pressure points. I'm not lazy. Now they know your insecurity is productivity. I'm not a liar. Now they know your fear is about trust. Silence discloses nothing. It is a blank surface. And when they confront it, they only see their own hostility staring back, which unnerves them. It makes them feel assessed, which is the ultimate irony. You haven't uttered a syllable. Sometimes quiet is insufficient. Sometimes the exchange demands speech, but never defensive speech. If you must talk, you never meet force with force. You redirect it. You employ the conversational art of deflection. There exists a principle in applied psychology called agree and exaggerate. It generates a state of mental conflict in the accuser. If someone charges you with something ridiculous, defending it grants the charge credibility. It suggests the claim deserves a serious answer. Instead, you amplify it, you magnify it until it becomes absurd parody. Attacker. You're so obsessed with your image. Defensive. You. No, I'm not. I just like to look presentable. Dull, expected, weak, strategic. You. Guilty. I have meetings with my mirror. We're negotiating my reflections contract. You deliver it with a deadpan tone or the faintest hint of a smile. What have you accomplished? You have declined to feel insulted. You have demonstrated zero insecurity on the topic. You have transformed their serious assault into farce. You have established that you define the reality of the interaction, not them. This disarms the aggressor. They sought to injure you. Instead, you took their dagger and used it to slice a piece of fruit. It signals entertained superiority. Entertained superiority is the peak state of high social stature. It is the demeanor of an adult observing a child's meltdown. You don't rage at the child. You don't debate the child. You are faintly amused by the spectacle because your position is secure. When you defend yourself, you are crouching down to have the argument on their level. Don't crouch. Remain upright. Observe. Allow a slight smile. In the study of influence, one law concerns self-reinvention. A component of that is rejecting the identity others attempt to force onto you. When they label you, they are trying to confine you to a cage. If you struggle against the cage, you are still engaged with the cage. If you laugh at the cage's existence, you nullify it. You're so vain. I prefer aesthetically focused, but I'll take it. You never listen? I'm auditing a course on it. You're not on the syllabus until spring. It's cutting, it's dismissive, and it is magnetically attractive. Why? Because it proves you are complete. You do not require their endorsement to know your own nature. A person secure in their kindness grins when called mean. A person certain of their intelligence smiles when called a fool. If you are defending, it is because in a hidden corner you worry they could be correct, and that is the inner work you must undertake. Let's examine the hidden framework. Every dialogue has a submerged structure. In a clash, there is typically a prosecutor and a defendant. The prosecutor demands answers. What was your reason? What were you thinking? The defendant supplies them. Whoever poses the questions holds positional power. Whoever furnishes answers is conceding status. The most potent strategic move is to simply decline the part of the defendant and assume the role of the inquisitor. You achieve this by replying to a question with a deeper question, or by scrutinizing their conduct instead of your own. Them. Why are you so sensitive? Defensive. You. I'm not. You're just being harsh. Losing. Strategic. You. What makes my reaction the focus instead of what prompted it? Boom. Do you perceive the transition? Abruptly, we are no longer discussing your sensitivity. We are discussing their focus. We are discussing their framing. You have redirected the spotlight onto them. Them, that's a manipulative thing to say. Strategic. You. What in your experience defines manipulation for you? You are analyzing them in real time. This is maddening to a person seeking control. They desire you off balance. Instead, you are circling them, studying them like an interesting phenomenon. It's fascinating you'd interpret it that way. Does expressing that provide you relief? You appear quite committed to this perspective. These phrases are barriers. They acknowledge the noise emitted from the other person but do not absorb the meaning. It is a boundary, a verbal force field. You are stating, this belongs to you, not me. You keep it. This is more than a method. It is a philosophical stance. It is the realization that another's opinion of you is their concern, not yours. Their fury is their issue. Their letdown is their responsibility to process. When you defend, you are attempting to carry their emotional load for them. You are trying to repair their feelings. Cease. Let them bear their own weight. Now, the paradox. Occasionally, the most assertive, power-inverting action you can take is to concede, but not in the way you imagine. This is not the agreement of surrender. It is the agreement of the deep. Imagine someone is ranting at you. They are cataloging your failures. They are attempting to incite a battle. You look at them steadily and state calmly, "You're correct." And then you say nothing more. "You're correct. I can be stubborn." "You're correct. I overlooked that detail." This is the absorption technique. When you hurl a stone into thick mist, what occurs? Nothing. No impact. No echo. It simply vanishes. When you agree with an aggressor, you steal their thrust. They are shoving against a wall expecting rigidity. When the wall disappears, they stumble forward. They crave conflict. Resistance validates their position. Agreement nullifies it. But here is the subtlety. You must agree with the factual core, if any exists, without accepting the shame they are trying to glue to it. There's a chasm between acknowledging an error and endorsing a character attack. You botched the project. You're careless. Defense: I'm not careless. The instructions were unclear. Power move: you're right. The project has flaws. I'll revise it. Notice what was omitted. You didn't engage with careless. You disregarded the insult and addressed the outcome. You assumed responsibility for the action, but not the identity they tried to assign. This communicates profound assurance. Only someone solid in their own capability can acknowledge a fault so effortlessly. Insecure individuals battle relentlessly to prove they never err. Secure individuals say, "Noted," and proceed. The strategist would term this disarming your opponent. If you calmly set down your weapon, they appear foolish brandishing theirs. It drains their momentum. It renders them emotional, and you poised. And in the enduring view, the narrative is shaped by the poised. None of this functions if it is mere technique. If you recite these lines while your hands tremble or your energy pleads, "Accept me," it will collapse. Applied psychology is 20% language and 80% nonverbal presence. You must construct the internal foundation to support the quiet. This returns us to the shadow. Why does an attack cause pain? Because it presses on a bruise that already exists. If I tell you your hair is made of spiders, you won't become angry. You'll think I'm delusional. You won't defend. You'll be amused. But if I call you incompetent and you react, it's because a hidden part of you fears it might be accurate. The ultimate defense is not a verbal trick. It is self-awareness. It is gazing into your own depths, acknowledging your flaws, and embracing your whole self. When you know you can be insensitive and someone names you cruel, you say, "Sometimes, yes." When you know you can be unreliable and someone calls you flaky, you say, "It's a tendency." You cannot humiliate a person who has already embraced their entirety. You cannot expose someone with nothing concealed. This is the meaning of being unreachable. It means you have assimilated the aspects of yourself that others try to weaponize. You become clear. The insult passes through. The arrow passes through. You are no longer a castle that requires guards. You are the open sky. So here is the experiment. For the next 7 days, engage in a practice. The practice is named no justification. Regardless of the circumstance, however minor the critique, you are prohibited from explaining your motives. If you are delayed, say, "I am delayed." Provide no cause. If you make an error, say, "I made an error." Do not cite mitigating factors. If someone misreads you, allow the misreading to stand. Sit within the heat of that unease. Feel the powerful urge to correct it, to manage their view, to be seen as righteous. And let that urge turn to dust. Observe the people around you. See how they respond when you exit their game. You will witness confusion. then a shift in respect, then a peculiar pull because people are drawn to unwavering certainty. And nothing proclaims certainty more loudly than an individual who feels no need to justify their existence. You are reclaiming your focus. You are sealing the cracks in your spirit. You are stepping out of the part of the petitioner and into the role of the sovereign. The world will attempt to lure you back. It will dangle bait. It adores a reaction. Don't furnish one. Maintain your mystery. Keep your authority. Keep your stillness. If this perspective resonates with the deeper, more resilient part of your mind, the part weary of performing, then you know the action to take. Like this video and explore more. Do it not because I requested it. Do it because you are finished being a participant in games where the rules are designed for you to lose.